I got an email from the product school saying that I need to be able to answer 3 basic questions if I want to be an AI PM. This is my second video in my series about building a prototype for a customer service bot. This might be my favorite subject because I like building prototypes using AI. As somebody who is not a developer by trade, I have no background in it, using AI to supplement that skill set for me has been one of the more rewarding parts of my job and what I think is a huge part of our future just in general. So what does it mean when an interviewer asks you to build a functional prototype? It doesn't mean that you need to be able to write production quality code. It doesn't mean shipping an actual UI. It doesn't mean standing up real infrastructure. It really means, from a PM perspective, that you should be able to translate a real user problem into an AI-backed solution. You should be able to define the system boundaries, a user workflow, and perhaps a best case scenario would be validating feasibility or how your prototype might work. An output of your functional prototype might be some diagrams, something that demonstrates how, in our case, that chatbot works from end to end. You should have some general PRD excerpts, requirements, something that implies an intent or scope, and maybe some constraints thrown in there. In this case, use case example, we can also talk about conversational flows. What does the happy path look like? What does a failure look like? You can also talk about prompt design examples to demonstrate your thinking. What would you do? How would you tackle this? And lastly, some low fidelity wireframe UI examples will set you up for the most success. If you're like me, you may not have ever worked on a chatbot feature before. And so your first step, like mine was to just figure out what the top 3 key features of a customer service bot actually look like. So from there, assuming I was not constrained by a specific AI instance, I might open one, like ChatGPT, to act like a prompt engineer. And then I would have another AI to actually build that prototype using the prompt engineer AI's responses. I would put them in a markdown format that I would then feed to something like Lovable, GitHub Copilot, or Cursor. One thing that's super valuable is an ASCII diagram. That's something that will clearly check that box for a low fidelity wireframe and demonstrate your data flow and user experience that can only just be further enhanced as time goes on and you approach a more high fidelity final result. When building a functional prototype using AI, I'm always going to follow these 7 steps. The first is to build context. I want the AI to tell me about the existing code base, if one exists, but then I'm going to set the groundwork of what key product features look like. I might add how to build and test the app. Second, I'm going to ask the AI to generate visual insights. Those will help me analyze the data flows, pay attention to any APIs, and just generally give me a very clear and concise insight in as few words as possible. I want to make sure I'm leveraging those ASCII diagrams as well. The third step is generating a journey map. This will map out the ideal user experience. Fourth, we're going to start to identify some key features. Based on any existing code bases, we can identify what product features we might want to tackle, or if the interviewer has asked us for specific features, we can start to use our basic product principles like building out a product spec or PRD to help inform the AI a little bit more on how the user should be able to interact with these new features. The fifth step is to create wireframes. We want to design a UX for an individual feature, again, leveraging ASCII. The sixth is to plan for an implementation. We can ask AI, given all the prior context from the previous steps, to help just quickly nail out some high-level bullets on what a plan might look like if we were to implement this fully. And then the last step is to actually ask it to implement it step by step. If timing is an issue, back to our first step, building context. After the AI has told us about our existing code base, it might be a good idea to ask it to create you a README file. That'll provide it context so that you could spin up multiple chat windows for each one of these stages to run concurrently based on the same fundamental understanding, and then you can combine them all together at the end.